Good morning, KidLand. It's so great to be with you today. We are here to unlock the fourth armor of God. So let's read in the Bible our key to see what that next piece of armor is going to be. Ephesians 6:14 says, "Stand your ground, putting on the belt of truth and the body armor of God's righteousness. For shoes, put on the peace that comes from God's good news, so that you will be fully prepared." Now, this is verse 16. It says, "In addition to all of these, hold up the shield of faith to stop the fiery arrows of the devil." So that is your next piece of armor, the shield of faith. Let's see what this lesson holds for you.
Sir Tyler, so good to see you again. How are your shoes treating you?
As fast as you promised, Armor Bearer. And thank goodness, I need some protection and I need it now.
Protection? Is the castle under attack?
We're under siege, Armor Bearer, and by my worst nightmare.
We're being attacked by armored bears?
Okay, so my second worst nightmare.
We're being attacked by sock puppets?
Okay, so it's not my second worst nightmare either.
Then it can only be one thing. We're being attacked by ladybugs.
Yes, they're so little, and some of them aren't even ladies. And you know how I feel about polka dots. They must be stopped.
Well, then you're gonna need this.
A shield?
Yes, Sir Tyler, a shield.
With all due respect, Armor Bearer, I think I need something a little more dangerous than just a shield. Something like maybe a sword or a spear or maybe a bug net or something?
Well, I don't have a bug net, but this shield will protect you from any attacks.
It will?
Of course. A good shield is like a strong faith. Faith will protect you from the slings and arrows of spiritual warfare. It will guard you from temptation. A shield like this is guaranteed to stop spears, swords, and arrows.
And tiny flying polka dots?
And ladybugs.
And armored bears? You know, just in case.
I'll guarantee it against armor bears.
You're a good man, Armor Bearer. You always know when I need most.
Go save the castle, Sir Tyler, and don't let the ladybugs win.
Thank you, Armor Bearer Ronnie and Sir Tyler. You're looking like you're starting to get pretty equipped for those battles, even if it was with ladybugs. And boys and girls, we're getting equipped too. We've already gotten ready for our spiritual battle by putting our belt of truth on, our breastplate of righteousness, and we have our feet fitted with the gospel of truth. Now this week, we are going to be taking up the shield of faith. Now a shield is to block things and to protect us. And in Kajukimbo, we don't have a shield that we use, but we have moves that we call blocks that protect us from the opposite strikes that people will throw at us and the kicks that they have. We could also move out of the way, but we don't necessarily have a shield. The Roman soldiers, they had a shield. The shield was so big, it was probably bigger than most of you guys. It was 4 feet tall, 3 feet wide, and it was heavy because it was made of wood, and then it was wrapped with leather around it, and then it had this metal on it that was called iron, and it was wrapped around it, and then they put a circle of one in the middle. Then they put a leather strap on the back that the soldier would be able to put his arm through to be able to carry this. It protected them from big spears that would get thrown at them. It protected them from the swords that would get slashed at them. And it would also protect them from these fiery arrows that would be shot from far away that would come at them. In fact, before they would go into battle, they would actually soak their big shields in tubs of water to protect them. So when the fiery arrows hit the shields, it would distinguish or extinguish most of the arrows that came at them so they can continue in their battle. Also, if they needed extra protection, they would get their armor soldiers with them, and they would get together and they would put their shields together, and it would make a barrier between them and their enemies, and it gave them extra protection, especially if they were tired or they needed an extra little break or a breather. Now in our spiritual battle, Apostle Paul talks about it in Ephesians 6:16, what we need to do next. He says, in addition to all these things that we already have, he says to take up the shield of faith, which can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Now, let's look at that. He says that this isn't all that we need. There's other stuff, right? It's that shield of faith that we need to take up next. And I've already explained how big the Roman soldiers' shield was. So the shield of faith is a big deal. It's a big thing. And when we take it up, it's going to take some effort. It's not going to be something we just rely on what we learned for Sunday school. It's not what our parents just taught us. We have to dig deep into our faith. And faith is when we trust. And if we trust, we believe everything that Jesus is going to give to us. In fact, it says that we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. He says all things, not some, not most, but all things. And if we can carry that trust and our faith, our shield is going to be able to protect us from those flaming arrows that the evil one sends us. Flaming arrows. Now, flaming arrows in the spiritual world is more like lies that people are telling us. That's why we have the belt of truth too, right? And then those are false things that people try to tell us, or the things that people are doing wrong. We're going to be able to tell them very distinctly that these are things that are sent from the evil one in our spiritual battle. And notice, Paul says, extinguish all the flaming arrows. It's not just some, it's not most, it is all of them that come at us. So we're going to be able to tell what are lies, what are the temptations that are coming at us, and what are the distractions that are causing us to possibly go a little bit this way or go a little bit that way. And if there's some things that we need to do, we're going to be able to take up that shield and have the faith to be able to stand. Now, do you think that you would have been able to walk on water like Jesus did? Do you have that much faith? I don't know if I do, but I would like to. We're going to watch a video right now that was about somebody who had some faith, and then afterwards we'll come back and talk about it.
Stories of the Bible. Peter walks on water. This is Peter.
Hey-o! Whoop!
Peter was a fisherman who was called by Jesus.
Hey!
Peter saw the many miracles of Jesus.
Whoa!
And he heard all his teachings. Great crowds followed Jesus wherever he went. One day after Jesus had done a great miracle, he sent the disciples in a boat across the lake while he stayed and sent the people home.
See ya! Hey, Jesus!
After sending them home, Jesus went up into the hills by himself to pray. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them, walking on water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!"
Hold on there.
But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." So Jesus said, "Yes, come." So Peter went over the side of the boat.
Whoa! You're awesome!
And walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves,
Whoa!
he was terrified and began to sink.
Baby, help me!
"Save me, Lord!" he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. Jesus said, "You have so little faith. Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshipped him and said, "You really are the Son of God."
So in that video, we were able to see that Peter had faith enough to be able to get out of the boat and walk on the water with Jesus. Wow, so much faith. But it didn't last long. It was just a little bit. And Jesus even got on to him about having little faith. We can pray that we can have that much faith like Peter to be able to get out and trust in Jesus, to be able to keep our eyes on him and walk on the water with him. That's great faith. Just like the shield, we have to have that shield of faith up and ready to go, like Peter was able to walk on the water. So remember also that that stronger protection that the Roman soldiers used when they really needed it was to get with their army buddies and be able to come together for extra protection. And that's what we need to do. We need to get around people that are fighting that same spiritual battle that we are, and our friends that are Christians and that have the same desires to know more about Jesus. So it's time to be able to get with your friends that know Jesus and go into spiritual battle. Hold your shields up together and strengthen each other with your faith, and we'll be able to stand strong. You know, it's very important to have the right equipment that we've been learning. We have our equipment, and if we're prepared, a lot of good things could happen. So let's watch this and see what you think about being prepared.
Thank you, Carissa, for helping us. These are pencils. They represent people. This is soap. It represents faith, which can shield and protect us as people. This is a baggie full of water. It represents your life and all the stuff that we deal with throughout life. Now, this pencil is a person who has chosen to pick up their shield of faith, so we are going to put soap. This pencil is a person who is not living by faith. When the protected pencil goes into the bag of water, it is able to come out the other side successfully. That is because it has the right protection, the armor, the faith. This pencil does not have the armor or faith. Let's see how it goes in the bag. Uh-oh, it does not go through the bag. It is unable to because it does not have the right protection and tools.
With the right equipment, you can be prepared for anything, just like that object lesson. So, are you ready to take up your shield of faith? Remember, you got to get your muscles and work it out because it's a big shield. Are you ready? I am. Let's get ready for battle.
Put on the belt of truth and stop believing lies. The breastplate of righteousness and never compromise. Put on the gospel shoes and share about God's love to people all around. Put on the armor of God every morning before your feet even hit the ground. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Yeah, yeah. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Ephesians 6:10 and 11.